Ruling on virtual sitting and adoption, honorable members are reminded that this virtual sitting will be conducted in terms of the rules of virtual meetings read with our existing standing rule. In terms of Rule 6 of the rules of visual meetings, the quorum requirement for visual sittings of the House are as provided for in the Constitution and standing rule. In terms of Rule 6 of the rules of virtual meetings, requirement sittings of the House are as provided for in the Constitution and standing rules of the Legislature. Standing Rule 44 of the Standing Rules provide that the plenary meeting of legislature, close quote. The rules for virtual meetings also define present as follows. Present means the attendance of a member in a virtual meeting by electronic means in a matter participate in the meeting. The Secretary has confirmed that we have required 1/3 of members present in order to commence the sitting. The sitting is therefore properly constituted. As we were starting the meeting, honorable members, we already had 41 members that have joined our virtual meeting. Rule 7D of the rules for the virtual sitting also states that the presiding officer must, before or at the start of the discussion on the matter, expressly inform members if a party vote will be taken. In line with the above, I confirm that the adoption on the report on public accounts on the follow-up hearings on the 2018-2019 report by the Auditor-General, by the Chairperson of Standing Committee on Public Accounts, will be done on a party-by-party basis. A party vote is a collective vote on behalf of all members present at this virtual sitting, up to the total membership of that party in the sitting. I will, however, honorable members, allow an opportunity for any individual member to vote differently from his or her party or to abstain if any member wishes to do so. We will now proceed with the of the members who have received the following apologies. Honorable S.E. Mangele, his family bereavement, and on birthdays, I want to take this opportunity to wish a happy belated birthday to Honorable N. Dube Nube, who celebrated her birthday on the 1st of July. Honorable S.E. Shomuga celebrated his birthday on the 2nd, and Honorable Buthelezi, who celebrated hers on the 10th of July 2020. Today, the 23rd of July, Honorable ZLI Tele is celebrating her birthday. I also wish in advance the following members who will celebrate theirs in the coming days and weeks of July. Honorable M.A. Paga, July. Honorable M.A. Tili, honorable members and who are not well, may I take this opportunity to inform you that we have honorable members and members of our staff who have testified members. May we keep them in our thoughts and prayers and wish them a speedy recovery. In the same vein, on behalf of the legislature community, I wish to extend our gratitude for the work being done by essential workers, including to doctors, nurses, health practitioners, and front. On this point, honorable members and colleagues, I will request the honorable Premier to table announcements, if any. Thank you. Honorable Premier.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, I wish to indicate that no amendment. Thank you. I've indicated that thanks, we have no announcement for now.
Siyabonga Kuzeni, Siyabonga Premier. We are now on item number 5, tabling of reports or papers. We have already engaged in the ATC some of the tablings. I'm sure if there are any further tablings from the members. Thank you. We will proceed to item 6, formal motions and notices by the Chief Honorable Namalana.
There are no motions in this.
We are proceeding to the item 7.1 debate on report by Standing Committee on Public Accounts on the follow-up hearings in 19 minutes.
Honorable Committee on Provincial Government Departments and Public Entities. SCOPA also received a briefing at each hearing from the Provincial Audit and Risk Committee. We conducted the following hearings in February. There were hearings to the Department of Social Development, Provincial Treasury, the Department of Human Settlements, Public Works, Department of Transport, the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development and its entities, and I will talk about that again. The Department of Corporate Governance and Institutional Affairs, the Department of Community Safety and Liaison, the Department of Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs, and its entities, the Department of the Department of Arts and Culture, the Department of Sport and Recreation, the Office of the Senior and its entity, the Royal Household Trust, and on the 28th of February, Honorable Deputy Speaker, we met with the Agriculture and Rural Development. We had to reschedule the hearing because of the unsatisfactory response at that point to SCOPA. We have attached the report of the 8th May hearing in the department as to report. The committee has noted the following areas requiring attention. It is of great concern that investigations conducted by various departments and the provincial treasuries' internal audit units take very long to reach finality, resulting in provincial government departments being unable to take necessary action because officials of the department and in the finalization of investigations to overcome this challenge. Due to the significant number of forensic and internal investigations that in progress or still need to commence, or in respect of which implementation of recommendations either underway or yet to commence, SCOPA has further resolved to recommend to the House that the House establish an ad hoc committee in terms of Standing Rule 197 for purposes of conducting oversight over these investigations, including the timely implementation of all the recommendations emanating from the investigations. On SIU investigations, Honorable Deputy Speaker, SCOPA gave Special Investigations Unit to report on investigations being conducted by them in KwaZulu-Natal departments and public entities under authority of proclamations issued by the President. Although the SIU reports to the Presidency and to Parliament, it was agreed that we would also report to KZN and SCOPA from time to time. The cooperative relationship is very meaningful and will enhance the oversight of SCOPA and all KwaZulu-Natal portfolio committees. I want to thank the head of the SIU, who personally attended the briefing, and the officials for their reports. Sanctions and consequence management. SCOPA is of the view that consequence management against errant officials in the province leaves much to be desired. There is inconsistency in the sanctions imposed at disciplinary, and it is recommended that the Office of the Premier looks at these inconsistencies with a view to ensuring uniformity in the application of sanctions and consequence management across provincial government departments. While SCOPA notes progress in the filling of vacant funded posts, there are still far too many vacant posts at middle to senior. Of and compliance with the resolution as well as those in the October 2019 report. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the report of the February 2020 follow-up hearings and the 8th May 2020 hearings of the Standing Committee on Public Accounts hereby submitted for adoption by the Legislature. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Mtem from the African National Congress, 11 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Last year in November 2019, in the House for Province Honorable Sifela, I quote, declare war on irregular expenditure following Auditor-General findings. The Premier further said we need to address the underlying causes of the audit queries with vigor and without delay, at a close quote. SCOPA adhered to this call, and our robust engagement must be understood in the context of matching orders from the Premier. we in the committee on this. The province encountered 12.4 billion irregular expenditure for the year 2020, the highest of all provinces and more than national government. The previous figure was 9.8 billion. In addition to the above was the closing balance of 41.8 billion, also the highest of all provinces. This, despite the Auditor-General's ongoing recommendation to the leadership to take steps to avoid the abuse of supply chain management legislation. The recent negative publicity on COVID-19 procurement practices, if proven, is frightening and points towards a serious test for this oversight body on its relevant and fulfilling its mandate. The audit outcomes of the municipalities released recently rubbed the salt in the wound. As there was not enough, the outcome of the investigation by Treasury on the process of the blankets by DSD, asked by the Office of the FEMA, and the development of the purchases of the PPE demonstrated introspection on our part as a government. It is not only a which becomes a new normal in the province, but rendering of sign of and wasteful expenditure. So, irregular expenditure is referring to a part of financial management. Irregular expenditure are allowed to happen almost intentionally because of the availability of the condonation process. This is the area where the screws need to be tightened. There have been a tendency to portray irregular expenditure as something that is not bad in real, like saying irregular expenditure does not necessarily mean fraud or theft. That is being tolerant to irregular expenditure, irregular expenditure, and oppose the declaration of war on irregular expenditure, fruitless and wasteful expenditure. It is a license to break and float the rules and regulation. It is a form. Honorable Speaker, allow me to explain the meaning and the spirit of the irregular expenditure. Irregular expenditure is all expenditure where there was non-compliance with legislation in the process leading up to the payment. For example, if the procurement process for the awarding of a construction contract did not comply with legislation on supply chain management, all to that contractor will be irregular expenditure. When irregular expenditure is identified, the accounting officer or authority is required to perform an investigation to determine the impact by considering the financial loss, whether there was any fraud involved, and if an official, if there was no loss or fraud. The irregular expenditure will be then condoned after underlying action have been taken. The worst case scenario is the material in which had fraud, theft, the breach of fiduciary duty. There are many cases. The final response from the departments with a deadline of 12th of August 2020. Treatment of responses will be done based on the outline above. We must indicate in this House that we are quite serious and get situation, but a few. For example, vote 3, which is agriculture and rural development, and activities requires a serious attention from this House. We hope the new leadership will report something that will generate hope and revive the 12th of August 2016. Yes, they plan to unfill the vacancies, most of them funded irregular expenditure. Most of this in the supply chain management. There has never been an acceptable response from the department on why they're struggling in correcting queries in their supply chain. There is a growing belief that is with the leadership of every from one administration government. Same as it, but surprisingly, this has drawn the interest of wildlife has since been the question to respond. There's also been an incident where a peanut butter producer appeared from the remove of this unit. To remove this unit, an abnormal vehicle entered the traffic department. The machine was purchased through the funds that were transferred to ADA. Up to today, what happened? There are witness in the vote for and dating, which are ATA and social development. In the vote for, which is the Department of Social Development, of interest is a never-ending investigations on quick movement. The commission also learned of an investigation into irregular expenditure, which incurred as far back as 2014. There is irregular expenditure in the form of transit payment into some private entity. Last unacceptable to prefer to this till those cases are finalized. It is therefore recommended that there must be information on the report and how they were finalized. The committee or the House may decide to operate a weekend. This narrative, since the office of the president have proclaimed for an investigation in the functioning of the office of the state attorney, and after serious allegation of corruption and maladministration, it is therefore submitted here that the report